Hi, I'm Joe, and I'm really excited because after 3.5 years of living in my parents' spare bedroom, Amy and I have at last bought our own home. And now that we've got a bit more time and space, I thought it would be a really good time to start this sort of video log, which I'll probably call something like the Homegrown Journal. And in this journal, I want to show the transition of our garden from what it is now to what it might become as we work with it. And what do we want it to become? Well, we want it to become a regenerative home food garden. And by that, I mean a garden which produces food for us to eat, while also drawing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere into the soil to counter climate change, and a garden which provides a habitat for wildlife. So that's the goal, and I'll be talking in much more detail about that in future video posts. But for now, I wanted to get straight into it and show you the garden that we've inherited. Let's start by looking at the back garden. So this is where we're going to be growing most of our food, and you can see that the previous owner has built these big raised beds for growing vegetables in, and although I do like them, I don't feel that they make very good use of the space that we have. So we're going to dismantle them and reuse some of the wood to make some much lower beds that run horizontally across the garden, and each of these beds will have a narrow path between them, and we'll also have a path probably that runs at the middle of the garden, and we'll use these beds to grow vegetables in. And at the back of the garden, we have a big area of patio with a shed on it. That's where I'm sitting now actually. And we'll use this shed to store our tools, to chip potatoes, and to grow a few plants that need extra warmth, such as peppers and aubergines. But we also want to build a greenhouse on the other side of the patio to grow bigger plants, such as tomatoes, and to propagate our young plants for transplanting into the garden. You might have noticed this big cherry tree, and although it's a beautiful tree, it's getting very big, and the roots run throughout the top of the garden, drawing a lot of moisture from the soil. So we've decided to fell it to make growing vegetables a lot easier, and we'll probably use the wood to make a log pile to support wildlife. Now let's look at the front garden. This garden is actually a bit bigger than our back garden and is mostly covered by grass. And although my first thought was to grow vegetables in it, we decided that it could instead make an excellent habitat for wildlife. So we're currently thinking that we'll allow the grass to grow long and we'll cut a narrow path through the centre of it. We're not sure what to do with the borders on either side of the grass yet, but we want to make sure it provides a different type of habitat than the long grass will. These big trees are growing into the electricity cables overhead, so we need to fell these ones as well. But again, we'll use their wood to start a log pile that should provide an excellent habitat for a range of animals and microbes too. And as with most homes, we've got a little bit of growing space inside the house as well. We've got some windowsills that currently have some ornamental houseplants growing on them, but we'll also be growing a few edible plants on them as well, such as peppers and microgreen salads. We also have a shelving unit with grow lights that we affectionately call the salad station. It hasn't got much growing on it at the moment because of moving home, but we'll be using this to produce salad crops, to propagate plants for the garden, and hopefully to grow mushrooms on as well. I haven't grown mushrooms before, so that'll be really exciting. So that's our canvas, and I'm really excited to get growing, and I'll be back with future video posts to show you how we're getting on in the garden.